We all buy things constantly, right? Groceries, maybe a car, or for a business, some piece of kit.
Mm-hmm. It's just part of life.
But what if, for companies, buying wasn't just buying? What if it's this strategic battleground where even a tiny, tiny win means huge profits?
That's exactly it.
No.
And that's what we're getting into today, purchasing management.
Yeah, it might sound a bit, back office, maybe not that exciting.
Right, but stick with us. By the end of this deep dive, you'll see it's actually super critical for any organization's success.
And we've got some great material to work from here. This whole deep dive is built for you based on this expert document, purchasemanagement.pdf.
Yeah, it really covers the ground, from the basics right through to some pretty advanced stuff.
So our mission today, to shift how you think about purchasing from just a simple transaction.
To this really sophisticated strategic thing, something that hits the bottom line, helps companies grow, even impacts new products.
We want to show you why it's so vital, how it actually works, and how companies make sure they're always getting the absolute best value.
Okay, let's unpack this.
So let's start at the beginning, the core idea, purchasing management. Basically, it's getting goods and services from, well, outside the company, from external agencies.
Seems simple enough on the surface. But, the way people think about it has really changed over time.
So.
Well, initially, folks like Alford and Beatty or Walters, they described it mostly as just, buying materials, the act of acquiring stuff.
Okay.
But then later experts, Westing, Fine, Sens, they started framing it as more of a managerial activity, something that goes way beyond just the simple act of buying.
So more involved.
Exactly. It pulls in research, finding the right sources, follow-up, checking quality, even managing the logistics, receiving, accounting, the whole 9 yards.
And the view now, today.
Today, it's absolutely seen as a strategic managerial function. The source material is really clear on this. If you neglect purchasing, your profits will go down, period.
It's not just spending money, it's managing a critical investment.
Precisely. And that leads us to why it's just so incredibly important.
Right.
Think about it. It's the lifeblood for, say, a factory. Without the materials you purchase, the machines just stop. Everything grinds to a halt.
And here's a stat from the material that really made me sit up. A 1% saving in material costs. That's equivalent to a 10% increase in turnover.
It's staggering, isn't it? Just 1%.
It really is. It changes the whole game.
And it's not just about haggling for a lower price, though that's part of it. It's about the whole picture, the total cost. Better logistics, less waste, stronger supplier relationships that maybe give you better terms.
So it ripples out, affects almost every department.
Absolutely. It turns purchasing from just an expense into a way to actually drive profit.
Which puts the purchasing manager in a really powerful spot. The material calls them the custodian of the firm's purse.
And for good reason. They're often spending more than 50% of the company's earnings on purchases.
Wow, over half the money going out the door is through their department.
Exactly. It's a dominant chunk of the finances.
And it's not just internal impact, right?
No, not at all. Good purchasing can help the whole country. Things like import substitution, saving foreign currency. Plus, getting industrial projects done on time often hinges on effective purchasing.
And historically, what pushed it into the spotlight?
Oh, lots of things. Shortages after wars, economic swings, rising material costs, fierce competition, companies going global. All these things made people realize just how crucial smart purchasing is.
Okay, so given all that weight, there must be some clear goals. What are they trying to achieve? The document lists 11 specific objectives.
Yeah, and these go way beyond just buying stuff. They're policy decisions, really.
Like what? Give us a few examples.
Okay, well, number one is paying reasonably low prices, but for the best value. Negotiating well, making sure the company honors its commitments.
Makes sense. Value, not just price.
Exactly. Then there's keeping inventory levels low because inventory costs money, but making sure you don't run out and stop production.
Tricky balance.
Definitely. Also, building and keeping good relationships with your suppliers. That's huge. And making sure those suppliers perform well, deliver on time, provide acceptable quality.
What else?
Finding new materials or products when needed, setting up good internal procedures and controls, running cost reduction programs like value analysis, cost analysis, deciding whether to make something yourself or buy it in.
So continuous improvement is baked in.
Right. And getting the right people in the purchasing department itself, making sure the department runs economically.
And it seems like communication is key too.
Absolutely vital. Keeping top management in the loop about material developments that could affect profits, and working really closely, cooperating with all the other departments. It has to be integrated.
Okay, that makes sense. So how do they actually do smart purchasing day to day? The material talks about the 6 Rs.
Yes, the six
Fair.
Rs.
Thank-
These are like the guiding principles, the essentials for purchasing folks.
Let's break them down. First R.
Right, quality. And the interesting thing here is it's not always about the best possible quality, like the highest grade.
Oh.
It's about suitability. Is it right for the specific purpose you need it for? Quality gets measured, through tests, physical or chemical, and purchasing works with suppliers to make sure it's right.
So like if you're making something disposable, you don't need space-age material.
Exactly. That would be overkill, waste money.
Yeah.
Right quality is about matching the material perfectly to the job it needs to do, cost effectively.
Who decides the quality needed?
Often other departments, maybe
Yeah.
the plant engineer for machinery or the department using the stationery. But purchasing isn't just passive. They can question it, suggest alternatives, and then the inspection team verifies it all.
Okay, makes sense. Second R.
Right, quantity. This is all about finding that sweet spot, the amount that minimizes your total costs, but also prevents you from running out.
How do you figure that out? Sounds tricky.
Well, there's a concept called economic order quantity, or EOQ.
EOQ.
Think of it like this. Order too little, too often, and your ordering costs, delivery admin, go up. Order massive amounts, and your holding costs, storage, capital tied up, shoot up. EOQ is a formula that helps find the balance point, the cheapest quantity to order each time.
A mathematical way to optimize it.
Sort of, yeah. The formula is 2ASC, where A is annual consumption, S is the storage carrying cost per unit per year, and C is the cost of placing one order.
Okay, got it. Are there other approaches to quantity?
Yep. There's bulk order quantity. Sometimes you deliberately order more than the EOQ, maybe combining several needs to get a better price or simplify operations, often used for cheap, slow-moving stuff.
Right.
And then there's arbitrary order quantity. This is more flexible, used when things are uncertain, maybe the market price is jumping around or your production schedule is shaky or you don't know the lead time for delivery. You adapt.
So quality, quantity. What's next? R number 3.
Right time. Timing is crucial, especially for stuff you use regularly.
Hmm.
The best idea is you reorder when your stock hits a certain minimum level.
The reorder level.
Exactly. And there's a formula for that too. Maximum consumption rate multiplied by the maximum reorder period or lead time. It triggers the order before you run out.
And for one-off projects.
Then it's just about making sure delivery is timed perfectly to avoid holding up production. Simple as that.
Okay. Fourth R.
Right source. This is huge. Finding a supplier who can deliver the right quality, right quantity, right time at the agreed price, and who you can trust to actually do it without you constantly chasing them.
What makes a supplier right?
They need to be solid financially, have enough people, a good reputation, integrity, reliable.
Any practical tips for finding them?
Yeah, location matters. Closer suppliers often mean fewer delays, lower transport costs, easier communication, maybe better after-sales service. And usually it's better to deal direct, avoid middlemen. Oh, and definitely try to visit their site if you can, see their setup firsthand.
Good advice. Okay, fifth R.
Right price. This one's tough because,
Yeah.
again, it's not just about the lowest price.
Right, we keep coming back to that.
It's about the best ultimate value for the money invested. So many things affect price. Quality, delivery speed, how long the material lasts, simple supply and demand, competition, any government rules, service after the sale, discounts, payment terms.
It sounds like it links to that value analysis idea you mentioned earlier.
Absolutely. Value analysis is key here. You're constantly asking, is this item the best value? Can we get the same function cheaper? Or better function for the same price? It involves really knowing the market and being able to negotiate effectively.
Okay, makes sense. And the last, R number 6.
Right place. Basically making sure the materials arrive where they're actually needed in the facility. Minimizing internal transport and handling saves time and money.
So if a local supplier ticks all the other boxes.
They should definitely get preference. It simplifies things. So yeah, those are the 6 R's, the bedrock principles.
That's a really clear framework. Now, how do companies actually organize their buying? What systems do they use? The source mentions a few types.
Right. There's basic purchase as per requirement. You need something infrequently or it's an emergency, you just buy it.
Simple enough.
Then contract purchasing. This is useful for stuff where prices bounce around a lot. You lock in a longer-term deal with a supplier.
Ah, to get some stability.
Exactly. Then there's market purchase, where you try to time your buys to take advantage of low prices when they dip. And schedule purchasing, which is more regular. Cyclic buying, for things with stable prices, different tools for different situations.
One of the big debates, though, seems to be centralized versus decentralized purchasing. Can you unpack that?
Sure. Centralized means basically one main purchasing department buys everything for the whole organization, or maybe for multiple sites, like a hub.
What are the upsides of that?
Well, quite a few. You get economies of scale. Bigger orders mean better prices,
Mhm.
right? Volume discounts.
Mm.
It's generally more efficient. You can standardize quality and products across the company. Easier to maintain ethical standards. You benefit from having a central warehouse. And it saves time because you have specialists doing the product research.
Sounds pretty good. Downsides.
The main perception is that it takes longer to get things. Extended procurement time, the document calls it.
Is that true?
Often, the delay isn't the purchasing department itself, but things like researching the item properly, getting budget approval, waiting for the supplier's stock, or just shipping time.
Ah, okay.
And sometimes moving from decentralized to centralized can be tough. People in different departments might feel like they're losing control or perks.
Right. So what about the other way? Decentralized purchasing.
That's where each individual plant or office just buys whatever it needs for itself.
Advantages there.
The main one is local managers might feel more ownership and incentive to control costs, especially if their unit is treated like a separate profit center.
But the cons.
They can be significant. You lose the volume discounts, you get duplication of effort, multiple people researching the same things, less specialization among buyers, fewer options for cheaper shipping. Suppliers might not give you as much support because you're a smaller customer to them, and overall, less central control and visibility.
So what do most companies do?
A lot of them end up with a mixed system. Centralized for some big strategic items, maybe decentralized for smaller local needs. A hybrid approach.
That makes sense. The document also lays out the typical purchasing process, like the actual steps involved.
Yeah, it's a logical flow. Starts with maybe a market survey, then someone submits a requisition, it gets approved, then purchasing studies the market, makes the decision, places the order.
Then the goods arrive.
Right. Receipt, maybe inspection, accounting for them. Then you get the invoice, make the payment. And handle returns or credits if something's wrong.
It also mentions a broader purchasing management process, 4 stages.
Planning, tracking, reporting, and negotiation. Planning is setting up projects, tasks, priorities. Tracking is monitoring progress. Reporting is comparing actuals versus estimates, looking at KPIs. Negotiation is, well, negotiation. It shows the ongoing management cycle.
And that fits into the purchasing cycle itself.
Exactly, which is figure out what's needed, send out inquiries, get quotes back, compare them, negotiate, place the order, follow up to make sure it's coming, receive and inspect it, put it in storage, record it, and finally process the invoice and pay. Then the cycle repeats.
Okay, so we've covered the mechanics, the how. What about the bigger picture, the strategic impact? There was a study mentioned, Carr and Pearson.
Yes, 2002. They found that strategic purchasing, proper purchasing management, it has a positive impact on the company's financial performance. And that's true for both small and large firms.
So it's not just for the big players.
Not at all. And interestingly, they also found it helps with the success of launching new products. If purchasing and suppliers are involved early, things go smoother.
That makes sense.
And really, most companies get this now because they realize just how much of their sales revenue gets spent on buying inputs. It's too big to ignore.
Which naturally leads to thinking about the suppliers themselves, supplier management. Getting those relationships right seems absolutely critical.
It is. Choosing the right supplier impacts, well, everything. Meeting regulations, keeping customers happy, even protecting your brand's image. It's way more than just the price tag.
So how do you choose the right one? The material gives 6 steps.
Right. Step 1, identifying a supplier. This shouldn't just be purchasing. Get R&D, marketing, quality assurance involved. Define what you need based on value, not just cost. Think customer service, delivery reliability, responsiveness, total cost of ownership.
And communication is key.
Crucial. Be open, aim for a win-win.
Step 2,
Measuring supply performance. And importantly, do audits before you sign anything. Check their compliance, their quality systems, catch problems early.
and it's ongoing.
Absolutely. Keep auditing based on how critical they are. Monitor their performance continuously.
Okay, step 3.
Gaining supplier feedback. Use things like self-assessment questionnaires. Work with the supplier to track metrics that matter, like how many shipments are perfect, how many lots get rejected. Make it a shared goal.
Step 4.
Achieving certification. If a supplier consistently performs well against your criteria, you can grant them certified status. This usually means deeper integration, maybe less inspection needed from your end.
They can lose it.
Oh yeah, it's earned and it has to be maintained.
Makes sense. Step 5 sounds like the ultimate goal.
Developing partnerships. This is where you have a truly strategic relationship. Full transparency, high trust, top quality. The supplier starts anticipating your needs, communicates proactively if there's a problem.
That sounds ideal. Any downsides?
Well, the trust has to be absolute.
Yeah.
Because you're more reliant on them, you have more to lose if things go wrong. And you have to be careful about potential conflicts of interest.
Right. And the final step, 6.
Ensuring quality for consumers. That's the end result. When you have solid supplier relationships, you get peace of mind. Your team can focus elsewhere, and your customers get consistently good products.
When you're selecting suppliers strategically, it really isn't just about price lists, is it?
No, it's about your business priorities. If quick delivery is vital for your customer service, a supplier who excels at that might be worth paying a bit more for. It has to align with your strategy.
What about the number of suppliers? Is it better to have just one or many?
The numbers game. Good question. Having a focused, targeted group of key suppliers has benefits. It's easier to manage, you become a more important customer to them, potentially get better service, maybe preferential treatment on rush orders.
Like building a core team?
Kind of, yeah. But relying on only one supplier is risky. What if they have problems, go out of business? Or just get complacent because they know you have no alternative?
True, so spread the risk.
Generally, yes. But don't go overboard and use too many suppliers either, especially for low-value stuff. That just creates complexity.
So find a balance.
Exactly. Have options, especially for your really critical strategic supplies.
So to recap, what are the key things to look for in a supplier?
Reliability is huge. Consistent quality matching that right quality idea. Value for money, which we know isn't just the lowest price. Good service, clear communication, financial stability, run those credit checks, and ideally, a willingness to build a partnership.
And finding them. Where do you look?
Ask for recommendations. Check directories like Yellow Pages or Thomson. Talk to trade associations, business advisors. Go to trade shows. Read industry magazines.
And when you've got a short list?
Get written quotes based on a clear brief of your needs. Compare them based on the factors that matter most to you. Don't just jump at the lowest number.
Meet them.
Definitely try to meet face-to-face, especially for important suppliers. Check if they use subcontractors. You need to know who's actually doing the work. And increasingly look into their ethical practices, labor standards. It matters.
So final tips for getting the right supplier.
Know exactly what you need. Put time into the research. Ask around. Check their finances. Remember, price isn't everything. Agree clear service levels up front. And find that right balance in how many you use.
Great advice. Now, let's shift gears slightly to another huge piece of this. Inventory management. Managing the stock you hold.
Absolutely critical. Inventory is basically the physical stocks of items a company holds that have economic value, needed for smooth operations.
What kinds of inventory are we talking about?
Usually raw materials, stuff waiting to be used, work in process, or WIP, partly finished goods, finished or bought out parts needed for assembly, and finished goods ready to sell.
And the scale here is massive, right? The document says inventory can be the most important asset.
Representing up to 70% of a company's total capital.
To 70%, that's huge.
It really is. So the challenge becomes a balancing act. Holding stock costs money, storage space, staff, insurance, the capital itself just sitting there. But not having stock when you need it to stock out also costs money. Idle workers, machines sitting silent, potentially lost sales, and customer goodwill.
And the source mentioned a study showing a 1% profit loss just from not having inventory available, even when companies had huge amounts invested overall. How does that happen?
It happens because maybe they have the wrong kind of inventory, or it's not managed efficiently. Which brings us to selective inventory control.
Based on Pareto's law, the 80-20 rule.
Exactly. Pareto observed that often roughly 80% of effects come from 20% of causes. In inventory, it means a small percentage of your items usually account for a large percentage of your total inventory value or usage.
So you don't treat everything the same.
Precisely. Selective control means you apply different levels of attention and control based on criteria like how much you use, usage value, how expensive each unit is, how critical it is, how hard it is to get, if it's seasonal, how often it's issued from stores, or just the sheer amount of money tied up in it.
And the most common way to do this is ABC analysis.
By far the most common, yeah. It categorizes inventory based purely on its annual usage value. How much money flows through that item per year.
How does that break down?
Typically, A items are the top tier. Maybe only 5–10% of your total number of items, but they represent 70–75% of the total money spent.
Wow. So the vital few.
Right. These need very tight control. Frequent reviews, smaller order quantities perhaps, maybe even daily tracking, intense focus.
Okay. Then B.
B items are the middle ground, maybe 10–15% of items, accounting for 10–15% of the spend. They get moderate control. Regular reviews, but maybe not as intense as A items.
And C?
C items are the vast majority of your item types, maybe 70–80% of them, but they only account for a tiny fraction of the total spend, like 5–10%.
Trivial many.
You could say that. For these, you use much simpler, looser controls, maybe just order a large batch once a year, or use a simple reorder when empty system. Minimal paperwork, minimal fuss.
How do you actually do an ABC analysis?
You list all your items, find the unit price, figure out how many you use per year, calculate the annual usage value, price X usage for each. Then you rank them from highest value to lowest, calculate cumulative percentages of items in value, plot it, and then decide your category cutoffs, A, B, C, and the control policies for each.
It sounds like a powerful way to focus your effort.
It really is. Stop wasting time micromanaging cheap screws and focus on the expensive engines.
Are there other methods besides ABC?
Yeah, the material mentions VED analysis, for example. That focuses on criticality, V for vital, E for essential, D for desirable. How crucial is the item to keep operations running, regardless of cost? Sometimes a cheap item can be absolutely vital.
Interesting. So these methods help manage existing inventory. But how are companies adapting their planning with things like global supply chains?
Good question. Traditional methods are evolving. The document touches on deterministic versus probabilistic inventory models.
Okay, what's the difference?
Deterministic models basically assume you know everything for sure. Demand is constant, lead times are fixed, costs are known. It works in situations with high certainty.
Right.
Maybe you have a fixed contract to produce, say, 10 trains a month for the next year.
Yeah.
Your demand is known and stable. You can use a deterministic model to plan your parts orders quite precisely. It assumes a situation of sureness.
But life isn't usually that certain.
Exactly, which is where probabilistic models come in. They acknowledge uncertainty. Demand might fluctuate. Lead times might vary. These models work with ranges of values, probabilities, and distributions. They factor in the risk of stockouts or holding too much.
So more realistic for many businesses today.
Generally, yes, especially with volatile markets or products with unpredictable demand, like fashion or high-tech. Use probability to make the best bet, considering the costs of getting it wrong either way, shortage costs versus holding costs.
How do you choose which model to use?
It really depends on the industry, the specific product, and how much certainty you actually have about demand and supply.
Yeah.
But the goal for both is the same. Minimize the total cost associated with holding inventory.
So wrapping this all up, we've really journeyed from just buying stuff to seeing purchasing as this incredibly complex strategic function.
Absolutely. Proper purchasing management, smart supplier choices, optimizing inventory. It's not just about saving pennies. It's about efficiency, innovation, and seriously boosting the company's financial health. It really is a strategic art.
We definitely got into the weeds, the 6 R's, centralized versus decentralized, the step-by-step process, building partnerships.
You're digging into inventory techniques like ABC analysis and those different planning models. It's a deep topic.
And those key numbers stick with you, that 1% saving in materials equaling a 10% jump in turnover.
Or the fact that up to 70% of a company's capital can be locked up in inventory. Huge leverage points.
So here's something for you, the listener, to think about. Given everything we've discussed, are there any hidden areas in your life or maybe in your work that could benefit from this kind of strategic purchasing mindset? Where could you apply value analysis, looking beyond just the price tag, to find the best ultimate value next time you make a significant purchase?